Let's talk cohabiting, otherwise known as VAT, otherwise known as Mashlalisane. This is a relationship where two parties stay together in a relationship that resembles a marriage, but it isn't a marriage. Do you know what the law says about this relationship? If you are planning on moving in with your partner, or you already are living with them and you are not married, this video is definitely for you. I'll be sharing with you the 5 major legal implications of this relationship in accordance with South African law. Hey, what's good, YouTube family? It's your lawyer bestie, Shala. And in today's video, I want to share with you the legal implications of a cohabiting relationship. I know when it comes to fat and sit, Mashlalisane, or whatever it is that you want to call it, sometimes the lines get blurry. And the lines usually get blurry when trouble arises. So when the relationship terminates or one of the parties dies, it is in those times that it is evident that the people who got into the relationship were not well informed before making the decision to stay together. So in this video, I want to eradicate that confusion and just give you some knowledge on what the law says. This video is going to be super short because it's just 5 short points. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. As being in the relationship they're in, they're still considered to be single people. And with that, point number 1 is that a cohabiting relationship is not recognized in South African law. Unlike a marriage, a cohabiting agreement is not a recognized relationship. So this means that you and your partner are still regarded as being single people. There's also no law that governs cohabiting relationships. Unlike marriages, you've got the Marriages Act. If the marriage terminates, you've got the Divorce Act. With cohabiting relationships, that does not exist. However, I must say that when disputes arise upon the termination of that relationship, there are areas of law that are looked at, although they are not specific to cohabiting relationships. Number 2 is that cohabiting does not automatically turn into a marriage. It doesn't matter how long you have been staying with your partner or how many assets you have together, how many children you have together, how many countries in the world you've traveled together. It does not automatically turn into a marriage. I know this point might sound like, well, duh, it's not a marriage. But a lot of people get it confused, especially when they have been in this type of relationship for an extended period of time. So knowing that no matter how long you stay with your partner, it will not automatically turn into a marriage will put you in a place where you know that if you want the legal benefits that accrue to married persons, then you're gonna have to get married. So keep that in mind, that a cohabiting relationship does not automatically turn into a marriage. Number 3 is that you can claim assets from each other upon termination of the relationship. But I must warn you, it's not an easy thing to do. As you can see, there hasn't been much development in this area as opposed to how it is with other countries. But the best you can do when claiming assets from this agreement, so this is if you don't have a cohabiting agreement. I'm just talking when you want to get out and you want to claim assets from the other person, you're going to have to rely on a universal partnership. So you need to prove that a universal partnership exists. And this in itself is not easy because the requirements of proving that a universal partnership exists are, number 1 is that each party needs to contribute towards the partnership, be it by skill, be it by labor, be it monetary. There needs to be some contribution that the parties bring towards the partnership. Number 2 is that the partnership should be carried on for the joint benefit of the parties. Number 3 is that the subject should be to make profit. And then the last one, number 4, is the contract should be legitimate. So as you can see, the term universal partnership is not exactly a family law term, but rather a term associated with business. So in some cases, it has been used in order to provide some sort of relief to the aggrieved parties. As you can tell, there's a whole gap in our legal system when it comes to this. So this brings me to my next point. Number 4. Have a cohabiting agreement. This is an agreement that you and your partner draw up in order to protect yourselves in this relationship, to protect yourself during the course of the relationship, and to protect yourself after the relationship has terminated, in the event that the relationship terminates. So in this cohabiting agreement, you will have a whole lot of things that you cover. For example, the finances, who's responsible for what, joint assets, acquisition of property, gift, and things of that nature. So while we are on this point of cohabiting agreement, I must state that this agreement might look like an antenuptial contract, but still having this agreement does not translate to the relationship being a marriage. And also, don't need an attorney to draft a cohabiting agreement. You and your partner can do this, drafted as simply and as plainly as you possibly can. Although I would recommend that you get somebody with some legal insights to have a look at it, because certain provisions of that agreement will not be enforceable if they are illegal or if they are contrary to certain laws. But in its most basic form, a cohabiting agreement between you and your partner does not have to be drafted by an attorney. And the last point, number 5, is that unfortunately, a cohabiting agreement is only enforceable between you and your partner. It's not enforceable against third parties. So what do I mean? So I mean that you cannot use your cohabiting agreement in a similar way that somebody would use their antenuptial contract or their marriage certificate. Let me explain this further. This means that your agreement cannot override any other agreement that was concluded by your partner. For example, a will. Your cohabiting agreement cannot override a will. If you, as the partner, were not included in the will, you cannot bring your cohabiting agreement and say, we were cohabiting, therefore I am entitled to certain things. Do you get what I mean? So essentially what I'm saying is that this agreement is enforceable between you and your partner, not third parties. So those are the 5 super important things to know when you are in a cohabiting relationship. Number 1 is that it is not recognized in South African law. Number 2 is that no matter how long you have been in this relationship, it does not automatically turn into a marriage. Number 3 is that you can claim assets from your partner, although the process is not an easy one. Number 4 is that get a cohabiting agreement as soon as you possibly can. And the last one, number 5, is that the cohabiting agreement is only enforceable between you and your partner and not third parties. And yeah, that is it for today's video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop down to the comment sections and let me know, and I'll be happy to answer you. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video. Give this video a big thumbs up. It will really mean so much to me, and I will see you on my next one. Until then, I'm sending you tons of love and light. Bye.